Today I messed up not filtering my language around my little cousin. Today my parents celebrate their 20th marriage anniversary, so they invited some family members. Everything is going marvelously. We go to the restaurant and celebrate and we're having fun. At some point my cousin Annie, her boyfriend and I decide to get up and go outside and they notice there's a tomato stain on my white shirt and I blurted out, "Oh, fuck me. Non è possibile." Then I hear it again, "Fuck me." Behind me there was my 5-year-old cousin Jess. I didn't know she was following me. I literally turned pale, and tried to stop her. Too late. She started running around the restaurant and outside. It was like a farmhouse, so there was a garden or SMTH. She was safe, screaming "fuck me" over and over and over again, and I tried to catch her and stop her running with my high heels on, but she was fast. We are not an English-speaking country, but people know the meaning of "fuck me" and not for any good reason, and I could feel the weirded out look of the other people as I desperately chased that little kid as she screeched a word she definitely shouldn't have known waiting on my back. When we caught her we tried to trick her into saying something else instead of that, like saying "okay this is bad, but insert nonsensical word here is worse and you absolutely cannot say this." It worked for 30 seconds, then she escaped again and kept screaming "fuck me" again. I gave up and, absolutely mortified, went to her mom asking for help, and somehow she managed, but my god I was so embarrassed. Never speaking English, EVER, again I swear. Today I messed up by agreeing to food play. It's a standard FWB situation and we've been doing it for a month. At this point we're really comfortable with each other and we're doing kinkier stuff. So last night we were both kinda drunk hanging in my room. My roommate was out partying and he wasn't coming back until next morning. Anyways, my FWB gets super horny and says, "I want to try something new with you." She proceeds to take out a bunch of standard size Gushers fruit roll-ups and says, "I'm gonna give you the tastiest head you'll ever get." For a minute I'm skeptical, but then again, I've seen and done much worse, so I agree to try it. She starts sucking my dick normally, and I get hard. I'm a bigger guy, this will be important later, and she is really good at deep throating. When I'm fully hard, she completely wraps my dick in fruit roll-ups. She then proceeds to start sucking again. It was like a super thick sticky condom around my dick, and I was not into it. So naturally, I started getting softer. After a minute of me losing it, she went all the way down and came up. But at this point I was soft enough that the Gushers condom came off and got stuck in her throat. She realized that 7 inches of Gushers was choking her and started trying to give herself the Heimlich maneuver. But she was not succeeding. So I go around her and with one pull, I get her to cough it out, with half of her dinner. I'm thinking great, now I have to clean this up. And now for the cherry on top. Of course, while she's hyperventilating on the floor and my dick is still out, my roommate comes home. Apparently the cops busted the party and he ran away. He took one look around the room, saw the hollow Gushers condom, laughed, and then shut the door. Today I messed up by Pavloving myself into being horny every time I study. About 5 years ago I was calmly studying in my college library when suddenly, a guy I was texting sent me a nude. The thing was massive and a real shock at the time. It felt extra shocking considering I was at a public library. It pretty much accidentally became a core memory. I was at that same library about a week later. Guess who decided to text first this time? Idiot me. This guy indeed sent another NSFW image. Same reaction on my end. Little did I know the Pandora's box of gutter thoughts I had just opened. We stopped talking about 2 months after that, but the following 5 years up to today have been student hell. Every single time I'm trying to study I get overwhelming thoughts and I have a very hard time studying. I'm talking about every 1 hour of studying I need to do something about it or else it won't go away. And guess what? The next hour I need to do it all over again. It's like a little demon mosquito in my ear. Like a cursed gay bee in the background. Here I am right now trying to do an intensive study session for an exam and yet this is the second time I need to take a quick break so that I can focus again. Making it go away is not really helping at this point, because it only deepens the consequences of this Pavlov effect. It is awful. It is hell. I'm just trying to study e-commerce and all I can think of is gay sex. My grades are above average, but I know they could be better if I could just focus for longer. It's gotten to the point where I sit down to study and I get the urge to call my ex, and that man was as boring as a gray sheet of paper, but goddamn am I thinking about him now. Anyway, I'm about to take a cold shower and try to go back to studying for my final exam tomorrow. Pray for me. Today I messed up and embarrassed myself really bad in front of a man I really like. I'm F19, autistic and have never had many friends until a few months ago where a wonderful woman, F19, took me under her wing, introduced me to her 2 best friends and they made me their own. I felt loved and accepted with my disorders, and I started developing feelings for her best friend M19 who she actively encourages me to pursue. This guy has seen me at some pretty bad moments and opened up to me significantly and we all tell each other we love each other, including him. He answers my texts more than them and he sleeps in my bed when they all spend the night. He also tried to buy me a new plushie the other day, but I felt bad about spending his money. He's Italian, and today he told me October is Italian Heritage Month, and I tried to flirt and be funny, so I asked him what it was like inventing fascism, and since I said that my texts have gotten increasingly more weird in an attempt to cover it up, please help me. Today I messed up when my son found my big brown penis sex toy behind my bed, while I was in the bath. I messed up because my 8-year-old son found my toy while I, 31F, was in the bath. I have a queen-size bed which he's been begging to sleep in since I got it, so I said he can sleep in it with me once a month. He wanted to sleep in my bed today, and I forgot where I had hidden the toy. He went behind my bed to plug in his tablet while I was bathing and suddenly shouted, "Mommy, what is this?" I shouted back, "What's what?" And he said, "It looks like a big brown willy." I was mortified. But I decided to bite the bullet when I got dry and dressed and explain the subject of masturbation. Thankfully he had his first sex ed lesson before the summer holidays, and he has been asking questions since then anytime one pops into his mind. I have taught him about consent since he was old enough to understand, always in age-appropriate terms, like if you don't want a hug you can say no, that's refusing consent, etc., but I was not expecting to explain masturbation today. We've talked. I explained masturbation as best I could, and that sex isn't just for creating babies, it's for pleasure as well. And that most, but not all, people do it. I explained it's for pleasure and completely natural, explained wet dreams while I was on the topic, and told him to talk to me, his dad, and his stepmom if he had any questions, not to Google it. I'm gonna make sure his safe search options won't allow it to make sure, and not to talk to his school friends as they likely weren't ready for that topic yet. But that he was mature enough to understand, and I will always answer his questions with open honesty. I answered all of his questions and explained that not all penises look like that even when a man is fully mature. It's an 8 inches dildo. I explained that everyone experiments and it's normal to do so, in private with the door closed. But if/when questions come to mind, I will always answer them in age-appropriate terms. If anyone has advice other than hide the sex toys better, his dad's advice, I will take any suggestions I can get on how I could better broach the subject if there are more questions. His dad is pissed at me, but thankfully I have a smart kid who actually asks decent questions and understands the answers and can explain it back to me.